We are here with Dan Porter, the co-founder and CEO of Overtime. Dan, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Overtime targets Gen Z. How did you build out this successful strategy, especially as this content and creator space becomes increasingly crowded?
Luckily, we're not starting in 2025. We started in 2016. And by that, I mean that we started at the right time to be able to just build a massive fan base and build a huge brand. And I think 9 out of 10 people under the age of 25 in North America know us and see a video from us every week. So we're closer to the starter gate than we were 9 years ago. And I think ultimately, just being able to translate what I learned from that business, from representing all of those early creators and apply it to sports was huge. And the last thing I'd say is that sports is an amazing space. In fact, it's so good and it's so fun. I mean, I went to Super Bowl and I watched the Eagles win, and I grew up in Philadelphia. Like, it's pretty hard to mess that up. It's pretty great. It's not always been a place of a tremendous innovation. And I can watch a football game in 2025 and doesn't look that different than a football game I watched in the 70s when I was a little kid. And as such, I think if you're going to come into a space that is slower to change and innovate, probably because the nature of the core product, just sports, is so cool, that's going to give you more opportunity than if I was trying to get into AI or something like that and I was competing with some of the most innovative companies in the world.
Well, congratulations to your birds.
Thank you. I feel like being in the arena. My wife said, you don't make a difference. And I was like, oh, no, 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 you don't understand. I absolutely did make a difference.
What properties do you currently see as strongest for Overtime?
I mean, we really have kind of three legs of the business right now. Right in the middle is kind of our core business, which is just a distributed media company. We have over 110 million followers. We're at 50 different accounts we run on every platform, all branded Overtime. And that just continues to grow. Every year, there's a giant new cohort of fans. And as we retain our fans who are, have another year of life, we just keep getting bigger. And, there's new platforms like TikTok, there's new formats. The fact that people are watching YouTube on their TV as opposed to on their mobile, that part of business grows. And then I think about kind of both sides of it. On one side, we have our kind of partnership around rights holders. So we're an NFL partner. We had an amazing activation at Radio Row at the Super Bowl where we talked to all these players and so forth. And we're an Olympics partner of NBC, and we're about to announce 2 more leagues where we partner. And on the other side of business, we are not just the partner of the rights holder, we're the rights holder ourselves. So we have a basketball league in its 4th season, as well as a women's basketball league, a football property, and a boxing property. And to give you a sense of growth, every year in the league, we vote for MVP. We do a fan vote. Last year, tens and tens of thousands of fans voted over the course for the MVP. We just started it for this season, which is about to end 2025. We got as many votes on the first day as we did in the entire year last year. And last year, we got a lot of votes. So just to be able to see markers on views and audience and sellouts and everything and voting like that just really you're able to see it go up and to the right.
Okay, 2 leagues you're about to announce. Can you give us a hint?
They are not in basketball, not in football.
About as broad as you possibly could be, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that we'll go deeper in partnering with around women's sports. And then we're interested in things that people don't think about us in general around things, individual sports like golf and tennis, for example, but where the average fan is much, much older, and they're trying to figure out what their strategy is to be relevant to the next generation fan. And that's really our sweet spot.
So you mentioned TikTok, which I know is a huge platform for Overtime. When it looked like TikTok could be banned, and I personally would have been devastated, I was phantom scrolling for those 12 hours when it was
Yeah.
gone. What was the strategy in place, and how much would losing TikTok impact Overtime's business model overall?
It's hard to have a strategy when they're just taking it away. I mean, sure, we're active on Reels, we're active on YouTube Shorts. I mean, the TikTok algorithm is world class in showing you stuff that you might not have followed in discovery and so forth. I think about it in 2 minds. One is it impacts everyone, right? ESPN, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Cowboys, like the NBA, like everybody in sports is impacted in the same way. So it's not like overtime takes a step back and everyone else is, still at the starting gate. So we all adjust. And I think ultimately just making sure you're strong on the other platforms. I didn't see anybody who I was like, wow, that was a really genius strategy. It kind of like, I don't know, kind of stinks. You have a flat tire. What do? You put a spare tire on it on the side of the road. There's not a lot else you can really do around that. And we've been strong and invested in all of the platforms as well, and in making content that feels really unique to each of the platforms.
So I know you're planning on expanding your current slate of athlete talk shows from 4 to more than double 10 by end of year. How are you planning to scale up so quickly?
It's great to be able to go and partner with athletes when they know you, and in case of a lot of them, they've grown up on you. So it's like when you go and you talk to Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, and you were making content with them when they were in 10th grade. That's really different than, a bunch of offers that come off their desk, because it really is about trust, and it's about the brands that you want to work with. I'd say that's number one. Number two is we don't drive them into our studio. We build a studio around them and their lifestyle. And so really being able to execute on that at a very high level. And I'd say number three is that we have Overtime as a cross promotional engine. And so if you look at some other entities, some Turner properties that have athlete talk shows and otherwise, I'd say in 4 months, we absolutely crushed them in terms of audience, and they're over a year too old because we have the whole Overtime network that we're able to plug in there. So even if Molly and Dan start a podcast and on day one we have no followers, at least we're part of Overtime, and it fits with the ethos of that. I haven't really seen that elsewhere. I think a lot of the other companies are very reliant on the athletes to drive it. And look, when you're Jason and Travis Kelce, it works amazing. But for other athletes, they don't have anything else to bring to the table. And I believe that we do.
So, how have your media partnerships evolved? I know back in 2019 you launched with MSG Networks. What do those traditional kind of linear partnerships look like?
They're all different, but I think they're similar in the sense that you've got networks who want to accomplish two things. One is they want to make the next generation sports fan aware of what's on their network, because if you're 22 years old, you don't wake up in the morning and put on the TV for 8 hours a day like my in-laws do, and stuff comes on and you watch it. And I think also they have brand partners who are looking to complement their linear distribution with digital distribution. And because our digital distribution is really big, and because we have a number of different channels to distribute on, that becomes very additive to what they do. So if a network partner has a big deal with Microsoft, as just a hypothetical, they can give them a lot of linear and television commercials. And now through our partnership, they can also give them digital distribution.
All right, Dan, thank you for being here.
Thanks, Molly.